Good evening, and welcome to the Toms River High School North Theater Academy's production of their 2024 Theater Academy Showcase. Tonight's performance will be a combination of monologues and scenes that the Academy students have worked on in the Academy classes throughout the year. You will see monologues from the play Spoon River by Lee Edgar Masters, monologues from plays by Tennessee Williams, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, A Streetcar Named Desire, and The Glass Menagerie. Monologues from Shakespeare's plays, The Comedy of Errors, Twelfth Night, A Midsummer Night's Dream, King John, Cymbeline, The Winter's Tale, Henry IV Part 2, King Lear, As You Like It, and Henry V Part 3. You will also see scenes from the Greek tragedy Antigone by Sophocles, scenes from the medieval morality play Everyman, and scenes from the French Renaissance play Tartuffe by Molière.
Dust of my dust, and dust with my dust. O child, who died as you entered the world, dead with my death, not knowing breath though you tried so hard, with a heart that beat when you lived with me and stopped when you left me for life. It is well, my child, for you never traveled the long, long way that begins with school days, when little fingers blur under the tears that fall on the crooked letters, and the earliest wound when a little mate leaves you alone for another, and sickness in the face of fear by the bed, the death of a father or mother, or shame for them, or poverty. The maiden sorrow of school days ended, and eyeless nature that makes you drink from the cup of love though you know it's poisoned. To whom would your flower face have been lifted? Botanist, weakling, cry of what blood to yours? Pure or foul, for it makes no matter. It is blood that calls to our blood. Oh, and your children, oh, what might they be? And your sorrow? Child death is better than life.
I loathe you, Spoon River. I tried to rise above you. I was ashamed of you. I despised you as the place of my nativity. And there in Rome among the artists, speaking Italian, speaking French, I seemed at myself at times to be free of every trace of my origin. I seemed to be reaching the heights of art, to breathe the air the masters breathe, and to see the world in their eyes. But still, they pass my work and say, "What are you driving at, my friend?" Sometimes the face looks like Apollo's. Others, trace of Lincoln's. There was no culture, in Spoon River, and I burned with shame and held my peace. And what could I do, all covered over and weighted down Western soil, except aspire and prayer for another birth in the world, with all Spoon River rooted out of my soul.
I was the daughter of Lambert Hutchins, born on the cottage near Grist Mill, reared on the mansion there on the hill, with its spires, bay windows, and roof of slate. How proud my mother was of the mansion, how proud of my father's rise in the world, and how he loved and watched us and guarded our happiness. But I believed the house was a curse, for father's fortune was little beside it. And when my husband found out he married a girl who was really poor, he taunted me with spires and called the house a fraud on the world, a treacherous lure on young men, rising hope of a dowry not to be had. And a man selling his boat should not get enough of the people's betrayal to wall the whole of his family in. He vexed my life till I went back home, where I lived like an old maid till I died, keeping house for father.
In the lust of my strength, I cursed God. He paid no attention to me. I might as well curse the stars. In my last sickness, I was in agony, but I was resolute, and I cursed God for my suffering. Still, he paid no attention to me. He had left me alone, as he'd always done. I might as well curse the Presbyterian steeple. Then, as I grew weaker, a terror came over me. Perhaps I had alienated God by cursing him. One day, Lydia Humphrey had bought me a bouquet. And it had occurred to me to try to make friends with God. So, I tried to make friends with him. But I might as well have tried to make friends with the bouquet. Now, I was very close to the secret. For I really could make friends with the bouquet by holding close to me the love in me for the bouquet. And so, I was creeping upon the secret, but...
Mr. Kessler, was in the army, and he drew $6 a month as a pension, and stood in the corner talking politics, or sat at home reading Grant's memoirs. And I supported the family by washing, learning the secrets of all the people, from their curtains, counterpanes, shirts, and skirts. For things that are new grow old at length, they're replaced with better or none at all. People are prospering or falling back, and rents and patches widen with time. No thread or needle can paste decay, and there are stains that baffle soap, and there are colors that run in spite of you, though blamed you are for spoiling a dress. Handkerchiefs, napery, have their secrets. The laundress life knows all about it. And I, who went to all the funerals held in Spoon River, swear I never saw a dead face without thinking it looked like something washed and ironed.
When Rue Pentier ran away and threw me, I went to Springfield. There I met a lush, whose father, just deceased, left him a fortune. He married me drunk, my life was wretched. About a year passed, and one day they found him dead. That made me rich. I moved on to Chicago. After a time, met Tyler Roundtree. Villain. I moved on to New York. A gray-haired magnate went mad about me. So, another fortune. He died one night, right in my arms, I still see his purple face for years thereafter. There was almost a scandal, but I moved on. This time to Paris. I was now a woman. Insidious, subtle, versed in the world, and most importantly, rich. My sweet apartment near Champs-Elysees became a center for all sorts of people. Musicians, poets, artists, nobles, dandies, where we spoke French and English, Italian, and German. I wed Count Navigato, native Genoa. We went to Rome. He poisoned me, I think. Now in the Campo Santo overlooking, the sea where young Columbus dreamed new worlds. See what they chiseled. Contessa Navigato, Implora Eterna Cayete.
I had just turned 21, and Henry Phipps, the Sunday school superintendent, made a speech in Bindle's Opera House. May the honor of the flag must be upheld, whether it be sailed by a barbarous tribe of Tagalogs or the greatest power in Europe. And we cheered the speech and the flag he waved as he spoke. And I went to war in spite of my father. And I followed the flag till I saw it raised in our camp in a rice field near Manila. And we cheered and shared it. But there was flies and poisonous things, and the cruel heat, and the deadly waters, and the sickening, putrid food, and the smell of the trenches back of the tents where soldiers would empty themselves. And then there was whores who followed us, full of syphilis, with beastly acts between ourselves or alone, with bullying, hatred, and degradation among us, with days of loathing and nights of fear, to the hour of the charge, through the steaming swamp, following the flag, till I fell with a scream, shot through the guts! That was a flag with me in Spoon River. A flag! A flag!
Is Mamie. Dear sister, you would think we have suffered enough. For the curse of Oedipus, I cannot imagine any grief that you and I have not gone through. And now, have they told you new decree of our King Creon?
I have heard nothing. I know that 2 sisters lost 2 brothers, a double death in a single hour. And I know that an Argive army flew into the night, but beyond this, nothing.
I thought so. And that's why I want you to come out there with me. There's something we must do.
Why do you speak so strangely?
Listen, Ismene. Creon buried our brother Oedipus with military honors and gave him a soldier's funeral, and it was right that he should. But Polynices, who fought as bravely and died as miserably, Creon swore no one shall bury him, but his body must lie in the fields, a sweet treasure for carrion birds to find as they search for food. That is what they say, and our good Creon is coming here to announce it publicly, and the penalty, stoning to death in the public square. There it is. Now you can prove what you are, a true sister or a traitor to your family.
Antigone, you are mad. What could I possibly do?
You must decide whether you will help me or not.
I don't understand you. Help you in what?
Ismene, I'm going to bury him. Will you come?
Bury him? You have just said the new law forbids it.
He's my brother, and he's your brother too!
But think of the danger. Think of what Creon will do.
Creon is not enough to stand in my way!
Ah, sister. Oedipus died, everyone hating him, for what his own search brought to light. His eye ripped out by his own hand. And Jocasta died, his mother and wife at once. She twisted the cords that strangled her life. And our two brothers died, each killed by the other's sword, and we are left. But oh, Antigone, think how much more terrible than these our death would be if we should go against Creon and do what he has forbidden. We are only women. We cannot fight with men, Antigone. The law is strong, and we must give in to law in this thing and in worse. I beg the dead to forgive me, but I am helpless. I must yield to those in authority, and I think it's dangerous business to be always meddling.
If that is what you think, I do not want you, even if you ask to come. You have made your choice. You can be what you want to be, but I will bury him. If I must die, I say this crime is holy. I shall lie with him in death. I shall be as dear to him as he is to me. It is the dead, not the living, who make the longest demands. We die forever. You can do as you like, since apparently the laws of the gods mean nothing to you.
They mean a great deal to me, but I have no strength to break laws that were made for the public good.
That must be your excuse, I suppose. But as for me, I will bury the brother I love.
Antigone, I am so afraid for you.
You need not be! You have yourself to consider, after all.
But no one must hear of this. You must tell no one. I will keep the secret, I promise.
Oh, tell it! Tell everyone! Think of how they'll hate you when it comes out. When they find out that you knew about it all the time.
So fiery, you should be cold with fear.
Perhaps, but I'm only doing what I must.
But can you do it? I say that you cannot.
Very well. When my strength gives out, I shall do no more.
Impossible things should not be tried at all.
Go away, Ismene! I will be hating you soon, and the dead will too, for your words are hateful. Leave me my foolish plan. I am not afraid of danger. If it means death, it will not be the worst of deaths. Death without honor.
So then if you feel that you must, you are unwise, but a loyal friend indeed to those who love you.
Tell me briefly, how do you hear my proclamation touching this matter?
It was public. Could I help hearing it?
And yet you dare defy the law.
I dared. It was not God's proclamation. That final justice that rules the world below makes no such laws. Your edict, King, was strong, but all your strength is weakness itself against the immortal, unrecorded laws of God. They are not merely now. They were and shall be operative forever, beyond man utterly. I knew I must die, even without your decree. I am only mortal, and if I must die now, before it is my time to die, surely this is no hardship. Can anyone living, as I live, with evil all about me, think death less than a friend? This death of mine is of no importance. But if I had left my brother lying in death unburied, I should have suffered. Now, I do not. You smile at me. Ah, Creon! Think me a fool if you like, but it may well be that a fool convicts me of folly.
She has much to learn. The inflexible heart breaks first. The toughest iron cracks first. And the wildest horses bend their necks at the pull of smallest curb. Bride and a slave? This girl is guilty of double insolence, breaking the given laws and boasting of it. Who is the man here? She or I, if this crime should go unpunished? Sister's child, or more than sister's child, or closer, yet in blood. She and her sister will win bitter death for this. Go! Some of you arrest Ismene. I accuse her equally. Bring her. You'll find her sniffling in a house there. Her mind's a traitor. Crimes kept in the dark. Cries light, and the guardian brain shudders. But how much worse than this is brazen, boasting, a barefaced anarchy!
Korean, what more do you want than my death?
Nothing. That gives me everything.
Then I beg you, kill me! This talking is a great weariness. Your words are distasteful to me, and I'm sure that mine seem so to you. And they should not seem so. I should have praise and honor for what I have done. All these men here would praise me were their lips not frozen shut with fear of you. Ah, the good fortune of kings license to say and do whatever they please.
You are alone here in that opinion.
No, they are with me, but they keep their tongues in leash.
Maybe, but you are guilty and they are not.
There is no guilt and reverence for the dead.
But Oedipus, was he not your brother too?
My brother too.
And yet you insult his memory.
The dead man would not say that I insult it.
He would, for you honor a traitor as much as him.
His own brother, traitor or not, an equal in blood.
He made war upon this country, and Oedipus defended it.
Nevertheless, there are honors due all the dead.
But not the same for the wicked as for the just.
Ah, Creon, which of us is to say what the gods hold wicked?
An enemy's an enemy, even dead.
It is my nature to join in love, not hate.
Then go! Join them then. If you must have your love, buy it in hell!
And you hear my final judgment on that girl. If you come here hating me or love and deference whatever I do.
I am your son, Father. You are my guide. You make things clear to me, and I obey you. No marriage means more to me than your continuing wisdom.
Good. That is the way to behave, subordinate. Everything else, my son, to your father's will. This is what a man prays for, that he may get sons attentive and dutiful in his household, each one hating his father's enemies and honoring his father's friends. But if his sons fail him and turn out unprofitably, what is he father but trouble for himself and amusement for the malicious? So you are right not to lose your hair with this woman. Your pleasure with her would soon grow cold, Haman, and then you have that hellcat embedded elsewhere. Let her find her love in hell. Out of all of them in the city, only she has had contempt for my law and broken it. Do you want me to show myself weak before the people and to break my sworn word? No, I will not. The woman dies. I suppose she'll plead family ties. Well, let her. If I permit my own family to rebel, how shall I earn the world's obedience? Show me a man who keeps his house in hand, who's fit for public authority. I love dealings with lawbreakers and critics of the government. Who's ever chosen to govern should be obeyed, must be obeyed, in all things great, small, just, and unjust. Oh, Haman, the man knows how to obey, and that man only knows how to give commands when the time comes. You can depend on him, no matter how fast his fears come. He was a good soldier. He'll stick it out. Anarchy, anarchy. Show me a greater evil. This is why cities tumble and great houses rain down. This is what scatters armies. No. Good lives are made so by discipline. Keep the laws, then the lawmakers. And no woman shall seduce us. If we must lose, let's lose to a man at least. Is a woman stronger than we?
Father, reason is God's crowning gift to man, and you are right to warn me against using mine. I cannot say, and I hope I shall never want to say, that you have reasoned badly, yet there are other men who can reason too, and their opinions might be helpful. You are not in a position to know everything people say, or how they feel. Your temper terrifies them. Everyone will only tell you what you like to hear. But I, at any rate, can listen, and I've heard them muttering and whispering in the dark about this girl. They say no woman has ever, so unreasonably, died so shameful a death for a generous act. She covered her brother's body? Is this indecent? She kept him from dogs and vultures. Is this a crime? Death? She should have all the honor that we can give her. This is the way they talk out there in the city. You must believe me, nothing is closer to me than your happiness. What could be closer? Must not any son value his father's fortune as his father does his? I beg you, do not be unchangeable. Do not believe that you alone can be right. The man who thinks that, the man who maintains that only he has the power to reason correctly, the gift to speak, the soul. A man like that, when you know him, turns out empty. It is not reason never to yield to reason. In flood time, you can see how some trees bend, and because they bend, even their twigs are safe, while stubborn trees are torn up, roots and all. And the same thing happens in sailing. Make your sheets fast, never slacken. And over you go, head over heels and under. And there's your voyage. Forget you are angry, let yourself be moved. I know I am young, but please let me say this. The ideal condition would be, I admit, that men should be right by instinct. But since we are all likely to go astray, the reasonable thing to do is to learn from those who can teach.
And you consider it right for a man of my years and experience to go to school to a boy.
It is not right if I am wrong, but if I am young and right, what does my age matter?
And you think it right to stand up for an anarchist.
Absolutely not. I pay no respect to criminals.
Then she's not a criminal.
The city would deny it to a man.
And the city proposes to teach me how to rule.
Who is it that's talking like a boy now?
My voice is the one voice giving orders in the city.
It is no city if it takes orders from one voice.
The state is the king!
Yes, if the state is a desert.
This boy, it seems, has sold out to a woman.
If you are a woman, my only concern is for you.
And your concern is in a public brawl with your father.
How about you? In a public brawl with justice.
With justice? When all I do is within my rights.
You have no right to trample on God's right.
Fool! Alice a fool! Taken by a woman.
You will never see me taken in by anything vile.
Every word you say is for her.
And for you, and for me, for the gods under the earth.
You'll never marry her while she lives.
Then she must die, but her death will cause another.
Another? Have you lost your senses? Is that an open threat?
There is no threat in speaking to emptiness.
I swear you'll get this superior 20 yards. You are the empty one!
If you were not my father, I'd say you were perverse.
You ghost of fool, don't play words with me!
I'm sorry, you prefer silence.
Now I die! So I go down from heaven, follow you, gosh, where you shout! Bring her out! Bring the woman! Let her die here this instant with a bridegroom Messiah!
No, not here. She will not die here, king! And you will never see my face again! Go on raving as long as you've a friend to endure you.
This is the way the blind man comes. Princess. Lockstep, two heads lit by the eyes of one.
What new thing does it tell us, old Tiresias?
I have much to tell you, Creon. Listen to the prophet.
I am not aware that I have ever failed to listen.
That you have done wisely, king, and ruled well.
I admit my debt to you, but what have you to say?
This, Creon. You once more stand on the edge of fate.
What do you mean? Your words are a kind of dread.
Listen, Creon. I was sitting in my chair of augury at the place where the birds fly about. They were all chatting, as is their habit, when suddenly I heard a strange note in their drinking. A scream! A warring fury! I knew they were fighting, tearing at each other, dying in a whirlwind of wings, clashing. I was afraid, so I began the rites of burnt offering at the altar. But Festus failed me. Instead of bright flame, there was only sputtering slime of fat thigh flesh melting. The entrails dissolved into gray smoke. The bare bone burst from the welter. No blades. This was a sign from heaven. My Lord described it, seeing for me as I see for others. I tell you, Creon, you yourself have brought this new calamity upon us. Our hearths and altars are stained with the corruption of dogs and carrion birds that glut themselves on the corpse of an evidence son. The gods are deaf when we pray to them. Their fire recoils from our offerings. Their birds of omen have no cry of comfort, for they are gorged with the thick blood of the dead. Oh, my son, these are no trifles. But think, all men make mistakes, but a good man yields when he knows his course is wrong. Give into the dead. The only crime is pride. Then, do not fight with a corpse. What glory is there to kill a man who is dead? Think, I beg you. It is for your own good that I speak as I do. And you should be able to yield for your own good.
It seems that prophets have made me their special province. All my life I have been a kind of butt for the dull arrows of doddering fortune tellers. No, Tiresias, if your birds, if the great eagles of God himself carry yielding bit by bit to heaven, I would not yield. I am not afraid of pollution. No man can defile the gods. Do what you will. Go into business, make money, speculate in India gold at synthetic gold from Sardis, get rich otherwise than by my consent to bury him. Tiresias, it is a sorry thing when a wise man sells his wisdom, lets out his words for hire.
Oh, Creon, is there no man left in the world?
To do what? Come, let's have aphorism.
No man left in the world who knows that any wisdom outweighs any wealth.
As surely as bribes are based on any baseness.
You are sick, Creon, deathly sick.
As you say, it is not my place to challenge a prophet.
Yet you have said my prophecy is for
The
sale.
generation of prophets has always loved gold.
Generations of kings have always loved grass.
You forget yourself! You are speaking to your king.
I know it, you're a king because of me!
You have a certain skill, but you have sold out.
King, you will drive me towards that.
Say them! Say them, only remember I will not pay for them.
No! You will find them too costly?
No doubt, speak. Whatever you say, you will not change my will.
Then take this and take it to heart. The time is not far when you shall pay back, corpse for corpse, flesh of your own flesh. You have thrust the child of this world into the living night. You have kept from the gods the sun that is theirs. Furies and the dock guards are swift with terrible punishment. This is your crime. Do you want to buy me now, Creon? Do you want to buy me now? Not many days, and your house will be full of men and women weeping. Curses will be hurled at you from far cities, grieving for sons left unburied, let to rot before the walls of thieves. These are my arrows, Creon. They are all for you. Come, child. Lead me home. Let him waste his fine anger upon younger men. Maybe at last he will learn to control a wise tongue and a better head.
Rick, you know, I've been so goddamn disgustingly poor all my life. That's the truth, Rick. Always had to suck up to people I couldn't stand because they had money. And I was poor as Job's turkey. You don't know what that's like. It's like being 1,000 miles away from Echo Spring and having to get back to it on that broken ankle without a crutch. That's what it's like to feel as poor as Job's turkey and have to suck up to relatives that I hated because they had money. And all I had was a bunch of hand-me-down clothes and moldy old government bonds. My daddy, he loved his liquor. He fell in love with his liquor the way that you've fallen in love with Echo Spring. And my mama, my poor mama, having to maintain a semblance of our social position on an income of $13 a month on those filthy old government bonds. You know, the year I came out on my debut, I had just 2 evening dresses. One, mother made me from a pattern in Vogue, and the other from a rich, snotty cousin that I hated. You know, the dress that I married you in was my grandmother's wedding gown. So that's why I'm like a cat on a hot tin roof. You can be young and without money, but you can't be old without it. To be old without it is just too awful. You've got to be one or the other. Well, now I'm dressed. I'm all dressed. Ain't nothing else for me to do. I'm dressed. All dressed. Ain't nothing else for me to do. What am I? Oh, my bracelets. You know, Rick, I've been thinking. And I know when I love back. But Rick, you don't love no one back but your glass and your bottles. My daddy, he loved his liquor. And my mama having to maintain our social position. But Rick, we don't even have one. You, an alcoholic. And what am I? The alcoholic's wife? Rick, we could have so much. So much love, so many little hands and faces pawing at us to scoop them up. But Rick, we can't even hold ourselves up. So that's why I'm like a cat. I'm like a cat on a hot tin roof. Those filthy old government bonds may have gotten me through my childhood, and we may be getting by just fine now. But you can be young without money. But you can't be old without it. We can't be old without it.
Yes, Too bad you can't wring their necks out if they ain't got no necks to wring. Isn't that right, honey? No-neck monsters. All no-neck people are monsters? You hear them. You hear them screaming? I don't know where their voice boxes are located since they ain't got no necks. I tell you, I got so nervous at the table the other night, I thought I'd throw my head back and utter a scream to hear across the Arkansas border in Ponce, Louisiana and Tennessee. And I said to our charming sister-in-law, May, honey, couldn't you please put those precious little things on a separate table with an oilcloth cover? The lace just looks so pretty. She made enormous eyes at me and said, oh no! On Big Daddy's birthday, never forgive me. I want you to know, Big Daddy wasn't at that table 2 minutes with those 5 no-neck little monsters slobbering and drooling all over their food before he threw his fork down on the table and said, for God's sake, Scooter, couldn't you put those pigs in a trough in the kitchen? I simply could have died. Think of it, Brick. They've got 5 of them and 6 is on the way. They bring a whole lot of them like animals to display at a county fair, and they've got them doing all sorts of tricks all the time. Junior, show Big Daddy how you do this, and show Big Daddy how you do that. Oh, say a little piece with Big Daddy, sugar. Show your dimple, sister. Oh, show Big Daddy how you stand on your head. It goes on all the time, along with the constant little remarks and innuendos about how we have not had children, are totally childless, and are therefore totally useless. It's comical, of course, but it's also disgusting when it's so obvious what they're up to. All right! You're asking for it, Big Daddy. Finally gonna have that real, true talk like you wanted. It's too late to stop now. We're gonna go through and carry out every subject. Maggie declares that Skipper and I went into pro football after we left Old Miss because we were scared to throw up. Wanted to keep tossing those long, high passes that couldn't be intercepted except by time. The aerial attack that made us famous. And so we did. Kept it up for 1 season, that aerial attack. We held it high. But that summer, Maggie, she laid down the law to me. She said, now or never. And so I married Maggie. And she went on tour that fall with the Dixie Stars, made an incredible show being one of the world's greatest sports. She wore a tall bearskin cap, a shake they'd call it, and a dyed moleskin coat, cut up red, cut up crazy. Rented out hotel ballrooms for victory celebrations, didn't cancel if they turned out defeats. Maggie the cat. Skipper. He had that fever that came back to him, which doctors couldn't explain, and I got that injury on my leg, which turned out to be shadow on the x-ray plate and a touch of bursitis. I laid in the hospital bed, watched the game on TV, saw Maggie on the bench next to Skipper, and he was hauled out for stumbles and fumbles. It burned me the way she clung on his arm. I think Maggie's always felt a little left out, so she took this time to work on poor, dumb Skipper. Poured in his mind the dirty, false idea that what we were, him and I, were a case of old sissy boys like Jack Straw and Peter Ocello. He, poor Skipper, went to bed with Maggie to prove it wasn't true. And when it didn't work out, he thought it was true. Skipper broke in two like a rotten stick. Nobody ever turned so quick into a lush or died so fast of it. Now are you satisfied?
It wouldn't be the sort of thing you have in mind. This man is a gentleman, and he respects me. What he wants is my companionship. Having great wealth can sometimes make people lonely. But a cultivated woman of breeding and intelligence, can enrich a man's life immeasurably. If I go increase the years, strange that I should consider a destitute woman when I ball these treasures onto my heart. I consider myself to be a very, very rich woman. But I've been foolish, casting my clothes before. Yes, Swine! And I'm not thinking only of you, but of your friend, Mr. Mitchell. He came here tonight, he did. In his work clothes, being slander, vicious stories he got from you! So I gave him his walking papers. Then he returned. He returned the box of roses to beg my forgiveness. He implored my forgiveness. But some things are not forgivable. Deliberate cruelty is not forgivable. It's one of the only unforgivable things in my opinion. One thing which I've never been guilty of. So I said to him, thank you. But it was foolish that we could ever adapt ourselves to each other. Ways of life are incompatible. Backgrounds are too different. So farewell, my friend. Let there be no hard feelings.
I took the blows to my face and my body. All those deaths, the long parade to the graveyard, father, mother, Margaret, so big with it, couldn't be put in a coffin, but had to be burned like rubbish. You just came home for the funeral, Stella. And funerals are pretty compared to deaths. Funerals are quiet. Death? Not always. Sometimes their breathing is hoarse. Sometimes it rattles. And sometimes they even cry out to you, don't let me go. Even the old sometimes say, don't let me go. The funerals are quiet. With pretty flowers and the gorgeous boxes you pack them away in. Unless you're at the bed when they cried out, hold me, you would never suspect struggle for breath or bleeding. You didn't dream. But I saw. And now you sit here telling me with your eyes that I let the place go? How the hell do you think all that sickness and dying was paid for? And cousin Jessie, right after Margaret, hers? Why, Stella Bella Reeve was the Grim Reaper's headquarters. Which one of them left us a fortune? Which one of them left us a cent of insurance even? Only poor Jessie, 100 to pay for her coffin. That's all. And I, with my pitiful salary at school? Yes. Accuse me. Sit there, staring at me, thinking I let the place go? I let the place go? Where were you? In bed with your polo.
Stella! Come here. I'm sorry for what I did to you tonight. I should have never hit you. It was completely wrong on my part, and you don't deserve treatment like that ever again. I just got a little too drunk. I lost control of myself, and I acted in the totally wrong way. But I love you so much, Stella. Even in my rough and sometimes hurtful moments, I still love you. I know I might not be the best husband at all times, but I try my best for you. Heck, even your own sister thinks I'm a terrible man and husband. But I truly do care more for you than anything else in this world. You are my wife, my true love. You are going to be the mother of my child. I need you, Stella, more than you know. You and I are going to be spending the rest of our lives together. No one and nothing is ever going to come between them. I know. People are going to question me and my actions. As long as I still have you, then that really matters to me at all. You mean way more to me than some stupid poker game where I get a little too drunk and lose control. From now on, I will be a better husband, a better man overall. Don't let what Blanche has to say affect what you want. She is just jealous of what you have, and she wishes to bring us apart. She's been involved in failed marriages and relationships while we have maintained a strong and healthy relationship. She's going to tell you to end things with me, that you deserve better, and all that foolish. You can't believe her. She doesn't know what's best for us. We do, though, Stella. And that is for me and you to stay together. We can't make it without each other. We need each other to make it. Blanche wishes She had a husband like me who would love her, but she won't, and she can't have one. So instead, now that we have one problem, she's going to try and ruin us. You must tell her that you still love me, that we will stay together. She's going to have to learn to accept that. Once again, I just want you to understand how sorry I am for the pain that I caused you tonight. This will never happen again. Now, when Blanche tells you to end things with me, you must tell her no, but that you love me, and that we will make it, and that tonight wasn't a true showing of our love. You're going to be fine, Stella. We have true love. Your sister wants what you have. Make sure she understands that clearly.
I understand what it is to be lonely. I loved someone too. And the person I loved, I lost. He was a boy, just a boy when I was a very young girl. I was 16 when I made the discovery. Love. All at once and much too completely. It was like you struck a blinding light on something that had always been half in the shadow. That's how it struck the world for me. But I was unlucky, deluded. There was something different about this boy. A softness, nervousness, tenderness, which wasn't like a man's, although he wasn't the least bit effeminate looking. That thing was still there. He came to me for help. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything until after our marriage, when he'd run away and come back, and all I knew is I failed him in some mysterious way and couldn't give him the help that he needed. But couldn't speak of. He was in the quicksands clutching at me, but I wasn't holding him out. I was slipping in with him. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything except I loved him unendurably without being able to help him or myself. Then I found out, in the worst of all possible ways, by stepping into a room which I thought was empty, which wasn't empty. It had two people in it. The man I had married, and a younger man he had been friends with for years. Afterwards, we pretended like nothing happened. Yes, we drove out to Moon Lake Casino, very drunk and laughing all the way. We danced the Horse of the Arm. And in the middle of the dance, the boy I had married broke away from me and ran out of the casino. And moments later, a shot. Everyone ran out of the casino. We all did. We all ran to this terrible thing at the edge of the lake. I couldn't get near for the crowding, and then somebody caught my arm and said, "Don't go, don't go. You don't want to see." See what? And then I heard the voices say, Alan, the gray boy, stuck a revolver in his mouth and shot so the back of his head had been blown away. It was because earlier that night on the dance floor, unable to help myself, I said, "I know. I saw. You disgust me." And then, the searchlight which had been turned on the world suddenly turned off. And never, for one moment since, has there been a light stronger than this kitchen candle.
I was fired for writing a poem on the lid of a shoebox. I left St. Louis. I descended the steps of this fire escape for the last time, following my father's footsteps
attempting to find emotion for what was lost in space. I traveled around a great deal. The city swept upon me like dead leaves. Leaves that were brightly colored, but torn away from the branches. I would have stopped, but I was pursued by something. It always came upon me unawares, taking me altogether by surprise. Perhaps it was a familiar bit of music. Perhaps it was only a piece of colored glass. Perhaps I am walking along a street at night in some strange city before I have met companions. I passed the lighted window of a shop where perfume is sold. The window is filled with pieces of colored glass, tiny transparent bottles in delicate colors, like bits of a shattered rainbow. Then, all at once, my sister touches my shoulder. I turn around and look into her eyes. Oh, Laura, I tried to leave you behind me, but I'm more faithful than I intended to be. I reach for a cigarette. I cross the street. I run into the nearest movies or bar. I speak to the nearest stranger. Anything that can blow your candles out.
No, Mom, please! I have to say this. I can't go outside these walls. There's just too much pain. I can feel everybody staring at me. Staring at this. The noise it makes, it's so loud. That's why I dropped out of high school. I felt everyone's eyes staring at me. Heard all the giggles they tried to suppress as I clumped and went down the hall. Especially when I would enter the choir room. Jim would never want to be around me again. Sure, we talked sometimes. But he wouldn't want to be around me any more than those few occasions, not around a limping girl who makes such a racket. Nobody would want to be near me. So I tuned out from the rest of the world before it could cause me any more pain than I had already suffered. And it seems that whatever's crippled my leg, yes, Mom, you might as well admit that I'm crippled, has crippled the rest of my being throughout time. And it seems that I just got worse and worse at school. And then at business college, in that confined typing room, the quick clacking of keyboards surrounded me as I stumbled and fat-fingered all of the letters. It felt as if the professor was breathing down my neck, silently mocking me as I continued to fail. Until all that pressure poured out of me and into a toilet. Mom, secluded from the world in this house, listening to my phonograph records and dusting my class collection, this is where I belong. I fail everywhere else in the outside world, and here there's nothing to fail at. I'll never succeed at finding a husband or a job, so I might as well just give up trying now and be content in my bubble with at least having no additional failure for the rest of my life. I can't see Jim. It'll only result in the ultimate failure. Rejection. Rejection from the only person that I had ever loved. Mom, I can't. Just have dinner without me. Please, Mom.
You know what I judge to be the trouble with you? Inferiority complex. You know what that is? That's what they call it when someone berates himself. I understand it because I had it too, although my case was not as aggravated as yours seems to be. I had it until I took up public speaking, developed my voice, and learned I had an aptitude for science. Before that time, I never really thought of myself as being outstanding in any way whatsoever. Now, I've never given it much thought, but I have a friend who says I can analyze people better than doctors and make a profession of it. I don't claim that to be necessarily true, but I sure can guess a person's psychology, Laura. Oh, excuse me, Laura, I always take it out when the flavor's gone. Oh, I'll use this scrap of paper to wrap it in. I know how it is to get stuck on the shoe. Yep, that's what I judge to be your principal trouble. A lack of amount of faith in yourself as a person. You don't have the proper amount of faith in yourself. And I'm basing that fact on a number of your remarks and also on certain observations I've made as well. For instance, that clumping you thought was so awful in high school. You say you even dreaded to walk into class. You see what you did? You dropped out of school. You gave up an education because of a clump, which as far as I know, was practically non-existent. A little physical defect is all you have. Hardly noticeable even. Magnified thousands of times by imagination. You know what my strong advice to you is? Think of yourself as superior in some way.
I've been to the movies. There was a very long program. There was a Garbo picture, and there was a Mickey Mouse, and there was a travelogue, and a newsreel, and there was a preview of coming attractions, and there was an organ solo, and a collection for the Milk Bun simultaneously, which ended in a terrible fight between like a big fat lady and an usher. Of course. Oh, I forgot. There was a big stage show. On this stage show, the headliner was Malvolio, the magician. Here for wonderful tricks, many of them, such as pouring water back and forth between pitchers. First it turned into wine, and then it turned to beer, and then it turned into whiskey. And I know it was whiskey it finally turned into, because it needed somebody to come up out of the audience to help them. And I came up for both shows. Very generous fellow, he gave souvenirs. He gave me this. This is a magic scarf. You can have it, Laura. You wave it over a canary cage and you get a bowl of goldfish. Wave it over a goldfish bowl and they fly away canaries. Oh, but the wonderfulest trick of all was the coffin trick. He nailed himself into a coffin and he got out of the coffin without removing a single nail. That's a trick that would come in handy for me, get me out of this 2x4 situation.
I'm glad to see you have a sense of humor. You know, you're different from anybody else I know. Do you mind me telling you that? I mean it. You make me feel sort of, I don't know how to say it. Usually I'm pretty good at expressing things, but this is something I just don't know how to say. Did anybody ever tell you that you're pretty? Well, you are, and in a different way from anyone else. And in all the nicer because of the difference. Oh boy, I wish that you were my sister. I teach you to have confidence in yourself. Being different is nothing to be ashamed of, because other people aren't such wonderful people. They're 100 times 1,000. You're 1 times 1. They walk over the earth. You just stay here. They're as common as weeds. Well, you're a rose. It's right for you. You're pretty. You're pretty in all respects. Your eyes, your hair, your hands are pretty. You think I'm just saying this because I was invited to dinner and I have to be nice. Oh, I can do that. I can say lots of things without being sincere, but I'm talking to you sincerely. I happen to notice you have this inferiority complex that keeps you from feeling comfortable with people. Somebody had to bring your confidence up, way up, and make you proud instead of shy and turning away and blushing. Somebody had to kiss you, Laura. You know, Laura, if I had a sister like you, I'd do the same things as Tom would. I invite fellows home to meet you. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this. It may not have been the idea in having me over, but what if it was? There's nothing wrong with that. The only trouble is that in my case, I'm not in a position to... I can't ask for your number and say I'll phone. Can't call up next weekend, ask for a date. I thought I'd better explain the situation before you misunderstood and I hurt your feelings. You see, I've got strings on me, Laura. I've been going steady. I go out all the time with this girl named Betty. Oh, she's a nice, quiet home girl like you. A Catholic and Irish. And in many great ways, we get along fine. I met her last summer on a moonlight boat trip up the river to Austin on the Majestic. And right from the start, it was love. Oh boy, love has made a new man of me. The power of love is pretty tremendous. Love is something that changes the whole world. It happened that Betty's aunt took sick and got a wire and had to go up to Centralia. So naturally, when Tom invited me to dinner, naturally I accepted, not knowing. I wish that you would just say something. Well, I hope it doesn't seem like I'm rushing off, but I promised Betty I'd pick her up at the Wabash Depot, and by my time I get my jalopy down there, her train will be in. Some women are pretty upset if you keep them waiting. Goodbye, Laura. And don't forget the good advice I gave you.
I went to the typing instructor and introduced myself as your mother. She didn't know who you were. Wingfield, she said? We don't have any such student enrolled at the school. I assured her she did, that you've been going to classes since early in January. I wonder, she said, if you could be talking about that terribly shy little girl who dropped out after only a few days' attendance. No, I said, Laura, my daughter, has been going to school every day for the past 6 weeks. Excuse me, she said. She took out the attendance book, and there was your name, unmistakably printed, and all the dates you've been absent until they decided you dropped out of school. So what are we going to do with the rest of our lives? Stay home and watch the parades go by? Amuse ourselves with the glass menagerie, darling? Eternally play those worn-out phonograph records your father left as a painful reminder of him? We won't have a business career. We've given up on that because it gave us nervous indigestion. What is there left but dependency all our lives? I know so well what becomes of unmarried women who aren't prepared to occupy a position. I've seen such pitiful cases in the South, barely tolerated spinsters living upon grudging patronage of sisters' husbands or brothers' wives, stuck in some mousetrap of a room, encouraged by one-in-law to visit another. Little bird-like woman without any nest, in the crust of humility all their lives. Is that the future we've mapped out for ourselves? I swear, it's the only alternative I can think of. It isn't a very pleasant alternative, is it? Though, some girls do marry.
Every man, stand still. Whither art thou going thus gaily? Hast thou thy maker forget?
Why askest thou? What is thou wit?
Yea, sir, I will show you. In great haste I am sent to thee from God out of his majesty.
What, sent to me?
Yea, certainly. Though thou have forget him here, he thinketh of thee in the heavenly sphere, as, ere we depart, thou shalt know.
What desireth God of me?
That shall I show thee, a reckoning he needs have without any longer respite.
To give a reckoning long the leisure I crave, this blind matter troubleth my wit.
On thee thou must take a long journey, therefore thy book of count with thee thou bring. Return again, thou cannot, by no way, but look thou, be sure of thy reckoning. For before God thou shalt answer and show thy many bad deeds and good but a few, how thou hast spent thy life and in what wise before the chief Lord of paradise. Have it do that we were in that way. Wit thou well, thou shalt make none attorney.
Full and ready I am such reckoning to give. I know thee not. What messenger art thou?
I am death that no man dreadeth. For every man I rest, and no man spareth. For it is God's commandment that all to me shall be obedient.
O death, thou comest when I have thee least in mind. In thy power it lieth me to save, yet of my goodwill I give thee if thou will be kind. Yea, 1,000 pounds shalt thou have, and defer this matter to another day.
No, every man, it may not be, by no way. I set not by gold, silver, nor riches, nay by pope, emperor, duke, king, nay princes, for, and I would receive gifts great, all the world I might get, but my custom is clean contrary. I give thee no respite, now come hence, and not tarry.
Alas, shall I have no longer respite? I may say death giveth me no warning. To think on thee it maketh my heart sick, for all unready is my book of unreckoning. But 12 here, and I might have abided, My counting book I would make so clear that my reckoning I should not need to fear. Before death, I pray thee for God's mercy. Spare me till I be provided a remedy.
Thee availeth not to cry, weep, and pray, but haste thee lightly that thou were gone that journey, and prove thy friends if thou can, for wit thou well the tide abideth no man. In all the world, each living creature for Adam's sin must die of nature.
Death, if I should this pilgrimage take, and my reckoning surely make. Show me for St. Journey, shall I not come again shortly?
No, every man, and thou be one there. Thou mayest never more come here, trust me verily.
Oh, gracious God, in the high seat celestial, have mercy on me in this most need. Shall I have no company from this veil terrestrial of mine acquaintance that way me to lead?
Yea, if any be so hardy that would go with thee and bear thee company, he be that thou were gone to God's magnificence. What weenest thou thy life is given thee, and thy worldly goods also?
I had one so verily.
Nay, it was but lent thee. For as soon as thou art go, another a while shall have it, and then go therefrom, even as thou hast done. Every man, thou art mad. Thou hast thy wits five, and here on earth will not amend thy life, for suddenly I do come.
O wretched caitiff, whither shall I flee, that I might escape this endless sorrow? Now, gentle death, spare me till tomorrow, that I may amend me with good advisements.
Nay, thereto I will not consent, nor no man will I respite, and to the heart suddenly I shall smite without any advisement. And now out of thy sight I will meet he. See thou make thee ready shortly, for thou mayest say, this is the day, that no man living may escape away.
Alas, I may well weep with sighs deep. Shall have I no manner of company to help me in my journey, and me to keep? And also my writing is full unready. How shall I do now for to excuse me? I would to God I had never beget. To my soul a full great profit had been, for now I fear pains huge and great. Time passeth, Lord, help that all rot, for though I mourn, it availeth not. The day passeth, and is almost to go. I wot not well what for to do.
Every man, good morrow about this day. Sir, why lookest thou so piteously? If anything be amiss, I pray thee me say that I may help the remedy.
Yea, good fellowship, yea. I am in great jeopardy.
My true friend, show to me your mind. I will not forsake thee to my life's end in the way of good company.
Oh, that was well spoken, and lovingly.
Sir, I must needs know your heaviness. I have pity to see you in any distress. If any have you wrong, ye shall revenge thee, though I on the ground be slain for thee. Know that I know before that I should die.
Verily, fellowship, your mercy.
Tush, by thy thanks I set not a straw. Show me your grief and say no more.
I my heart should to you break, then you to turn your mind from me, and not come for me when ye hear me speak, then should I 10 times sorrier be.
Sir, I say as I will do indeed.
Ye speak like a good friend at me. I have found you true here before.
And so ye shall evermore. For in faith that thou go to hell, I will not forsake thee, by the way.
Ye speak like a good friend. I believe you. I shall deserve it, and I may.
I speak of no deserving by this day. For he that will say, and nothing do, is not worthy with good company to go. Therefore, show me the grief of your mind, as to your friend, most loving and kind.
I shall show you how it is. Commanded I am to go on a journey, a long way, hard and dangerous, and give straight count without delay before the high judge Adonai. Wherefore I pray you, bear me company on this journey as ye have promised.
That is mattered indeed. Promise is duty. But and I should take such a voyage on me. I know it well. It should be to my pain. Also, it maketh me a fear certain. But let us take counsel here as well as we can, for your words would fear a strong man.
Why, ye had said if I had need, you would never forsake me. Quick, me dead, though it were to hell, truly.
So I said certainly, but such pleasures be set aside, sooth to say, and also, if we took such a journey, when should we come again?
Nay, never again. Till the day of doom.
In faith and will not I come there. Who hath you these tidings brought?
Indeed, death was with me here.
Now, by God, that all hath fought. If death were the messenger for no man that is living today, I will not go that long journey. Not for the Father that begot me.
Ye promised me otherwise, party.
I wot well I said so truly. And yet if thou wilt eat and drink and make good cheer, or haunt to women in lusty company, I will not forsake you while the day is clear. Trust me verily.
Yea, thereto ye would be ready to go to mirth, solace, and play, than your mind sooner apply to bear me company on my journey.
Now in good faith I will not that way, but in thou will murder or any man kill, and that I will help thee with a good will.
Oh, that is simple advice indeed. Gentle fellowship, we have loved long, and now I need, and now, gentle fellowship, remember me!
Whether by St. John or go, I will not with thee go.
Yeah, I pray thee, take the labor and do so much for me, to bring me forward for St. Charity, to look comfort without the town.
Man, thou wilt give me a new gown, I will not with foot with thee go. But in thou had tarried, I will not have left thee so. And as now God speed thee in thy journey, for from thee I will depart as fast as I may.
Whither away, fellowship? Wilt thou forsake me?
Yea, by my faith, to God I betake thee.
Farewell, good fellowship. For thee my heart is sore. Adieu forever, I shall see thee no more.
In faith, every man, farewell now at the ending. For you, I'll remember that parting this morning.
Alack, shall we thus depart indeed? Ah, lady, help! Without any more comfort? Lo, fellowship forsaketh me in my most need. For help in this world, whither shall I resort? Fellowship here before me would merry make, and now little sorrow for me doth he take. It is said, in prosperity men's friends will find, which in adversity be full unkind. Now, whither for succor shall I flee? Since that fellowship has forsaken me? Where art thou, my goods and riches?
Who calleth me? Every man? What? Hast thou haste? I lie here in corners, trusted and piled so high, and in chests I am locked so fast. Also sacks and bags. Thou may see with thine eye I cannot stir, in packs low I lie. What would he have, lightning said?
Come hither, good, in all the haste that thou may, for of counsel I must desire thee.
Sir, and ye in the world have sorrow or adversity that I can help you to remedy shortly.
It is another disease that grieveth me. In this world it is not, I tell thee so. I am sent for another way to go, to give a straight count general before the highest Jupiter of all, and all my life I've had such joy and pleasure in thee, therefore I pray thee, go with me. For peradventure thou mayest before God Almighty my reckoning help to clean and purify, for it is said, ever among that money maketh all right that is wrong.
Nay, every man, I sing another song. I follow no man in such voyages. When I went with thee, thou shouldst fear much the worse for me. For because on me thou didst set thy mind, thy reckoning I had made, blotted and blind. That thine account thou cannot make truly, and that hast thou for the love of me.
That would grieve me full sore when I should come to that fearful answer. Let us go thither together.
Nay, not so. I am too brittle and may not endure. I follow no man 1 foot, be ye sure.
Alas, I have thee loved and had great pleasure all my life days on good and treasure.
That is to thy damnation without listing. For my love is contrary to the love everlasting. But if thou had me loved moderately during, as to the poor to give pardon me, then shouldst thou not in this dolor be, nor in this great sorrow and care.
Well, was I deceived, e'er was I weird, and only may wet my spending of time.
What? Waitest thou that I am thine?
I had ween so.
Nay, every man, I say no. As for a while I was lent thee, a season thou hast had me in prosperity. My condition is man's soul to kill. If I save 1, 1,000 I do spill. What? Meanest thou that I will follow thee? Nay, not from this world, verily.
I had weened otherwise.
Therefore is thy soul good as a thief. For when thou art dead, this is my guise. Another to deceive in the same wise as I have done thee, and all to his soul's grief.
False good, cursed may thou be, thou traitor to God that hast deceived
deceived me and caught me in thy snare.
Mary, thou brought thyself in care. Whereof I am glad, I must needs laugh, I cannot be sad.
Good, thou hast had long my heartly love. But I gave thee that which should be the wish of love, but wilt thou not go with me? Indeed, I pray thee truth to say.
No, so God me speed. Therefore, farewell, and have a good day.
Oh, to whom shall I make my moan? For to go with me in that heavy journey, first fellowship said he would with me go on. His words were very pleasant and gay, but afterward he left me alone. Then spake I to my kinsmen, all in despair, and also they gave me words fair. They lacked no fair speaking, but all forsook me in the ending. Then went I to my goods that I loved best, and hoped to have comfort, but there I had least. For my good sharply did me tell that she bringeth many into hell. Then of myself I was ashamed, and so I am to be blamed. Thus may I well myself hate.
Of whom shall I now counsel take? I think that I shall never speak. To that I go to my good deeds. But alas, she is so weak. She can neither go nor speak. Yet will I venture on her now. My good deeds, where be you?
Here I lie, cold in the ground. Thy sins have me sore bound that I cannot stir.
Oh, good deeds, I stand in fear. I must you pray of counsel for help now should come right well.
Every man, I have understanding that ye be summoned they come to make before Messiah is Jerusalem king, and you do by me that journey with you will I take.
Therefore I come to you, my moan to make. I pray you that you will go with me.
I would, but I cannot stand verily.
Why? Is there anything when you fall?
Yea, every man. I may think you will fall. If ye had perfectly cheered me, that book of counsel already had be. Look, the books of your works and deeds eke. Behold, how they lie at the feet to your soul's heaviness.
Oh, Lord Jesus, help me! For one letter here I cannot see!
There is a blind reckoning in times of distress.
Oh, good deeds, I pray that you help me in this need, or else I forever damn the deed. Therefore help me to make my reckoning before the Redeemer of all things, that King is and was and never shall.
Every man, I'm sorry of your fault, and fain I would help and I were able.
Good deeds, your counsel, I pray you give me.
And that shall I do verily. I have a brother that shall with you also. Though that on my feet I may not stand, my brother called Knowledge shall with you abide to make that dreadful reckoning.
Every man, I will go with thee and be thy guide, and I most need to go by thy side.
In good condition I am now in everything, and am wholly content with this good thing. Thanks be God my Creator.
And when he hath brought you there, where thou shalt cleanse thee of thy smart, then go with you your reckoning and good deeds, for to make you joyful at heart before the blessed Trinity.
My good deeds, perish ye. I am well content certainly with your words sweet.
Now go we lovingly together to confession, that cleansing river.
For joy I weep, I would we were there. But I pray you, give thee cognition, where dwelleth that holy man, confession.
In the house of salvation, we shall find him in that place, that shall us comfort by God's grace. Lo, kneel down, for this is confession.
O glorious fountain, thou uncleanness doth clarify, wash me in the spots of vice unclean, that on me no sin may be seen. I come with knowledge from our redemption, redempt my heart in full contrition, for I am commanded a pilgrimage to take, and great accounts before God to make. Now I pray you, Shrift, Mother of salvation, help my good deeds for my piteous explanation. Thank be God for his gracious work, for now I will my penance begin. This hath rejoiced and lightened my heart, though the knots be painful and hard within.
Every man, look your penance that ye fulfill, what pain that ever it to you be, and knowledge shall give you counsel at will, how your account ye shall make clearly. Every man, God give you time and space, thus I bequeath you in the hands of our Savior. May you make your reckoning sure.
And in the name of the Holy Trinity, my body sore punished shall be. Take this body for the sin of the flesh. Also thou delightest the way of damnation, down them and bring. Therefore suffer now strokes of punishing. Now of penance will I wade the water clear, to save thee from purgatory, that sharp fire. I thank God. Now I can walk and go, and am delivered of my sickness and woe. Therefore with every man I will go, and not spare. His good deeds I will help him to declare.
Every man, may you be merry and glad. Your good deeds cometh now, ye may not be sad. Now is your good deeds whole and sound, going upright upon the ground.
My heart is light, and shall be evermore. Now will I smite faster than I did before. Heaven, my special friend, blessed be thou without end. For thee is preferred with the eternal glory, and thee has brought me great astound. Therefore I shall abide by thee in every sound.
And may it be that you have quite forgotten husband's office? Shall, and 'twas even in the spring of love thy love springs rot? Shall love in building grow so ruinous? If you did wed my sister for her wealth, then for her wealth's sake use her with more kindness. Or, if you like elsewhere, do it by stealth. Muffle your false love with some show of blindness. Let not my sister read it in your eye. Be not thy tongue at thy own shame's order. Look sweet, speak fair, become disloyalty. Apparel vice like virtue's harbinger. Bear a fair presence, though your heart be tainted. Teach sin the carriage of a holy saint. Be secret false, what need she be acquainted? What simple thief brags of his own attaint? 'Tis double wrong to draw with your bed, and let her read it in thy looks at board. Shame hath a bastard's fame well managed. Ill deeds are doubled with an evil word. Alas, poor women, make us but believe, being compact of credit, that you love us? Though others have the arm, show us the sleeve. We in your motion turn, and you may move us. Then, gentle brother, get you in again. Comfort my sister, cheer her, call her wife. 'Tis holy sport to be a little vain, when the sweet breath of flattery conquers strife.
What? Is the aspiring blood of Lancaster sunk into the ground? I thought it would have mounted. See how my sword weeps for the poor king's death. Oh, may such purple tears always be shed from those that wish the downfall of our house. If any spark of life be yet remaining, down, 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 and say I sent thee thither. I have no love, pity, nor fear. 'Tis true what Henry told me of. For often I've heard my own mother say, I came into this world with my feet forward. Had I not reason, think ye, to make haste, to seek the ruin which usurped our right? The midwives wondered and the women cried, Oh, Jesu, bless us, he's born with teeth. And so I was, which plainly signified that I should bite and snarl and play the dog. And if heaven shape my body so, then let hell make my mind crooked to answer it. I have no brother. I am like no brother, and this word love that graybeards call divine, be resonant in men like another, but not in me. I myself am alone. Clarence, be wary. Now kept me from the light. For I will soar a pitchy day and buzz around such prophecies that Edward should be fearful of his life. And to purge thy fear, I shall be thy death. King Henry and his son, the prince, are gone. Clarence,
Thou shalt be next, and then the rest. Counting myself bad until I be best. I shall throw thy body in another room, and triumph Henry in the day of doom.
I left no ring with her. What means this lady? Fortune forbid my outside have not charmed her. Though she made good view of me, indeed so much that sure methought her eyes have lost her tongue, for she did speak in such distractedly. She loves me! Sure, the cunning of her passion invites me in this churlish messenger. And my lord's ring, why, sent her none. I am the man, if it so be as 'tis. Poor lady, she were better love a dream. Disguise, I see thou art a wickedness, wherein the pregnant enemy does much. How easy it is for a proper falsehood, woman's waxen hearts to set their forms. Alas, our frailty is a cause, not we, for such as we are made of such we be. How will this badge? My master loves her dearly, and I, poor monster, fawn as much on him, and she mistaken seems to dote on me. What will become of this? As I am a man, is desperate for my master's love. As I am woman, now will last the day, but thriftless sighs shall poor Olivia breathe. Oh, time, thou must entangle this, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie.
By day and night he wrongs me. Every hour he flashes onto one gross crime or other that set us all at odds. I'll not endure it. His nights grow righteous and himself upbraids us on every trifle. When he returns from hunting, I will not speak to him. Say I am sick. If you come slack of former services, you shall do well. The fault of it, I'll answer. Put in what weary negligence you please, you and your fellows. I'd have it come to question. And if he distaste it, point him to my sister, whose mind and mine I know in that are one, not to be all overruled. Idle old man, that still would manage those authorities that he hath given away. Now by my life, old fools are babes again, and must be used with checks as flatteries when they are seen abused. Remember what I have said.
Sir, spare your threats. The bug which you would frighten me with, I seek. To me, life can be no commodity. The crown and comfort of your favor, I do give it lost, for I feel it gone, but I know not how it went. My second joy and first fruits of my body, from which I am born like one infectious. My third comfort, starred most unluckily, is from my breast, most innocent milk in his most innocent mouth, hailed out to murder. Myself on every post proclaimed a strumpet with most immodest hatred, child-bred privilege denied, which belongs to women of all fashion. Lastly, hurry here to this place in open air. Now tell me, my liege, what gifts I have left here alive that I should fear to die. Therefore, proceed. But hear me, mistake me not. No life I present not worth a straw, but for my honor, which I shall be condemned upon surmises, all proof sleeping else, but what your jealousies awake. I tell you 'tis rigor and not law. So refer me to the oracle. Apollo be my judge.
These are the forgeries of jealousy, and never, since the middle summer spring, that we, on hill, in dale, forest, or mead, by paved fountain, or by rushy brook, or in the beached margin of the sea, to dance our ringlets to the whistling wind. But with thy brawls thou hast disturbed our sport. Therefore the winds, piping to us in vain, as in revenge, have sucked up from the sea contagious fogs, which, falling in the land, have every pelting river made so proud that they have
overborne their continents. The ox had therefore stretched his yoke in vain. The plowman lost his sweat, and the green corn hath rotted ere his youth attained a beard. The fold stands empty in the drowned field. Crows are fatted with the Murrian flock. The nine men's moors is filled up with mud, and the quaint mazes in the wanton green, for lack of tread, are undistinguishable. The human mortals want their winter cheer. No night is now with hymn or carol blessed. Therefore the moon, the governess of floods, pale in her anger, washes up all the air that rheumatic diseases do abound. And through this distemperature we see the seasons alter. Hoary-headed frost far in the fresh lap of the crimson rose, and old time's thin and icy crown, an odorous caplet of sweet summer buds is, as in mockery set. The spring, summer, childing autumn, angry winter, change their wonted liveries. And this mazed world by their increase now knows not which is which. And this same progeny of evils comes from our debate, from our dissension. We are their parents and original.
Is there no way for men to be? The women must be half workers? We are all bastards, and that most venerable man, which I did call my father, was I know not where when I was stamped. Some coiner with his tools made me a counterfeit, yet my mother seemed the date at that time, so doth my wife the nonpareil of this. Oh, vengeance! Vengeance! Me of my lawful pleasure she restrained, and prayed me off forbearance, did it with a prudency so rosy, the sweet view on my well-worn milk Saturn, that I thought her chase as unsun snow. Oh, the devils! This yellow chemo, in an hour, was it not? Or less, at first, perchance, he spoke not, but like a full acorn bore, a German one, cried, oh, and mounted. Found no opposition but what he looked for should oppose, and she should from encounter guard. Could I find the woman's part of me? For there's no motion that tends to vice in men, but I affirm it is the woman's part. Be it lying noted, the woman's, flattering hers, deceiving hers, lust and rank thoughts hers, revenge is hers. Ambitions, covetings, change of prize, disdain, nice longing, slanders, mutability, all false and name made a hell knows why hers. In part, or all, but rather all, for even to vice they are not constant, but are changing still. One vice, but of a minute old, for one not half so old as that. I'll write against them, detest them, curse them. Yet, 'tis greater still, in a true hate to pray they have the will. The very devils cannot plague them better.
Thou art not holy to beguile me so. I am not mad. This hair I tear is mine. My name is Constance. I was Geoffrey's wife. Young Arthur is my son, and he is lost. I am not mad. I would to heaven I were, and 'tis like I should forget myself. Oh, if I could. What grief should I forget? Preach some philosophy to make me mad, and thou shalt be canonized, Cardinal, for being not mad, but sensible of grief. My reasonable part produces reason. I may be delivered of these woes and teach me how to hang or kill myself. If I were mad, I should forget my son, or think madly of babe of clouds free. I am not mad. Too well, I feel the different plagues of each calamity. Grief fills the room up of my absent child. Lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts, stuff out his baking garments with this form. That have I reason to be fond of grief. Fare you well, having such a loss as I can give better comfort than you do. I will not wear this form on my head when there is such disorder in my
Sweet mistress, what your name is else I know not, nor by what wonder you do hid of mine. Less in your knowledge and your grace you show not, than our earth's wonder more than earth divine. Teach me, dear creature, how to think and speak, lay open to my earthly gross conceit, smothered by errors, feeble, shallow, weak, the folded meanings of your words' deceit. Against my soul's pure truth, why labor you to make you wander in an unknown field? Are you a god? Would you create me new? Transform me then, and to your power I'll yield. But if that I am I, then well I know your weeping sister is no wife of mine, nor to her bed no homage do I owe. Far more to you do I decline. Oh, train me not, sweet mermaid, with thy note, to drown me in thy sister's flood of tears. Sing, siren, and for thyself I will dote. Spread o'er the silver waves thy golden hairs, and like a bed I'll take thee and there lie, and in that glorious supposition think, he gains by death that hath such means to die. Let love, being light, be drowned if she sink.
Oh, yet for God's sakes, go not to these wars! Time was, Father, when you broke your word, when you were more endeared to it than now, with your own mercy, when my heart's dear Harry through many a northward looked to see his father bring up his powers, but he did long in vain. Who then persuaded you to stay at home? There were 2 honors lost, yours and your son's. For yours, the God of heaven brightened it. For his, it stuck upon him as the sun in the grey vault of heaven, and by his light did all the chivalry of England move to do great acts. He was indeed the glass wherein the noblemen did dress themselves. He had no legs that had practiced not his gait, and speaking thick, which nature made his blemish, became the accents of the valiant. For those who could speak low and tardily return their own perfection to abuse to seem like him, so that in speech, in gait, in diet, in affections of delight, in military rules, humors of blood, he was the mark and glass, copy and book that fashioned others. In him, oh, wondrous him! Oh, miracle of men! Him did you leave! Second to none, unsecond by you, to look upon the hideous god of war in disadvantage, to abide a field where nothing but the sound of Hotspur's name did seem defensible, so you left him. Never, oh, never do his ghost wrong to hold your honor more precise and nice with others than with him. Let them alone. The marshal and the archbishop are strong. And my sweet Harry, with half their numbers, today might I, hanging on Hotspur's neck, have talked of Monmouth's grave. Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy. Though he talks well, but what I care for words. Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. But he's a pretty youth. Oh, not very pretty, but sure he's proud, and yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make offense, did his eye heal it up. His leg is but so, and yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip, a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed within his cheek. 'Twas just the difference betwixt the constant red and the mingled damask. There be some women, Sylvius, who would have gone near to
fall in love with him in parcels as I did, but as for me, I neither love him nor hate him. And yet, I have more cause to hate him than to love him. For what he had to do to chide at me. Oh, he said mine eyes black and my hair black. And now I am remembered. Scorned at me, I marvel why I answered, not again. But that's all one. Omnipotence is no quittance. I will write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it for me. Wilt thou, Silvius?
For I must die, and if not by thy hand, thou art no servant of thy masters. Against self-slaughter, there is a prohibition so divine that cravens by you can. Come, here's my heart. Something support. Soft, soft. Oh, no defense. Obedient as a scabbard. What is here? The scriptures of the loyal Leonatus? All turned to heresy. Away, away! Droppers of my faith who show no more be stomachers to my heart. And thus my poor fools believe false teachers. To those that are betrayed, feel the treason sharply. Yet the traitor stands in a worse case of hope. And thou, Posthumus, thou that put me to contempt the suits princely fellows, shall hereafter find that it is no act of common passage. Strain of rareness, and I grieve myself to think that thou shalt be such by her, that thou first done, of thy memory will then be paid by me! Prithee, dispatch the lamb entreats the butcher. Where's thy knife? Thou art too slow to do thy master's bidding when I desire to!
That girl was laughing at your face. No, I've no wish to offend you. Even so, I'm bound to say she had some excuse. How can you possibly be such a goose? Are you so dazed by this man's hocus pocus that the whole world save him is out of focus? Why, you've given him clothing, food, shelter. I must do also.
Brother, stop right there. You do not know the man of whom you speak.
I grant you that, brother, but my judgment is not so weak, and I can't tell by its effect on others.
Oh, when you meet him, you two will be like brothers. There's been no loftier soul since time began. He's an excellent man. To keep his precepts is to be reborn, and view this dunghill of a world with scorn. I'm a changed man indeed. Under his tutelage, my soul's been freed from earthly loves and every human tie. My wife, children, and mother could die, and I would not feel a single moment's pain.
A fine sentiment, brother. Most humane.
Oh, if you had known Tartuffe as I first knew him, your heart, like mine, would have surrendered to him. He used to come into the church each day and humbly kneel and start to pray. He'd draw the eyes of everyone there with his deep fervor and heartfelt prayer. He'd sigh and weep, and sometimes with a sound of rapture would bend and kiss the ground. And when I'd stand to leave, he'd run before and
offered me holy water at the door. His serving man, no less devout than he, informed me of his master's poverty. Oh, I gave him gifts, but in his humbleness, he begged me every time to give him less. Oh, it's too much, he cried. Too much by twice. I don't deserve it. The half, sir, would suffice. And when I wouldn't take it back, he'd share half of it with the poor right then and there. At heaven's last prompted me to take him in, to dwell with us and free our souls from sin. He teaches us, and for my honor, stays by my wife and keeps an eye upon her. He tells me who she sees and all that she does, and was more jealous than I ever was. A man so austere, he can detect any mortal sin when you least suspect. Oh, how he is so strict. Just last week, his conscience was pricked. While praying, he caught a flea and killed it and felt too wrathfully.
Good God, man, have you lost your common sense? Or is all of this just some joke at my expense? How can you stand there in all sobriety?
Brother, your language savors of impiety. Too much free thinking's made your faith unsteady. And as I've warned you before many times already, it'll get you into trouble before you're through.
So I've been told before by dupes like you. Being blind will have all others blind as well. This clear-eyed man you call an infidel, and he who sees through humbugging pretenses, charged by you with want of reverence. Spare me your warnings, brother. I have no fear of speaking out for you and for heaven to hear. Against affected zeal and pious knavery, there is true and false in piety as in bravery. And just as those whose courage shines the most, as in battle, are least likely to boast, so those whose hearts are truly lowly do not make a flashy show out of being holy. There is a vast difference, as it seems to me, between true piety and hypocrisy. How do you fail to see it, may I ask? Is a face not quite different than a mask? Can sincerity and cunning, or reality and semblance, not be told apart? Are scarecrows just as good as men? Do you hold that a false coin is just as good as gold? Ah, brother, mankind is a strangely fashioned creature. Seldom is content to follow nature, but rather pursues reckless inclination beyond the narrow borders of moderation. And often, by transgressing reason's laws, perverts a lofty aim or noble cause. A passing observation, but it applies.
I see you're so profoundly wise. You harbor all the insight of the ages. You are our one clear sight, our only sage. You're this era's oracle. It's Cato too. And all mankind are fools compared to you.
I do not pretend to be a sage, nor do I have the wisdom of all of the age, but there's just one insight that I claim. True and false are not the same. There's nothing I more revere than a soul whose faith is steadfast and sincere. Nothing more I cherish and admire than honest zeal and true religious fire. So there's nothing I find more base than specious impiety's dishonest face. These bold mountebanks and histrios, whose impious mummeries and hollow shows exploit our love of heaven and make a jest of men who think holiest and best. These calculating souls who offer prayers not to their maker, but as public wares. They seek to buy respect and reputation through lifted eyes and sighs of exaltations. These charlatans who I say, pilgrim souls, proceed the way of heaven towards earthly goals. They weep and pray and swindle and extort. They preach the monkish life, but haunt the court. They use their zeal as a partner to their vice. These men are sly, vengeful, and cold as ice. And when there is an enemy to defame, they cloak their spite in fair religion's name, their private spleen and malice being made to seem a high and virtuous crusade. And when there's enemy to be made, they crucify their foe in heaven's cause. Brother, yet such knaveries are common, yet for the wise, true piety is not hard to recognize. And happily, present times have provided us with bright examples to help guide us. It is the sin themselves which they condemn. They do not show a fiercer zeal for heaven's cause than heaven itself can feel. These are the men I honor, these men I inspire. These are the men who we admire. But your type is not their all, I fear. And though your praise for him is quite sincere, I fear you have been dreadfully deluded.
Now then, brother, is your speech concluded?
Why, yes.
Your servant.
No, brother, there's one more thing you agreed as of late. You giving your daughter's hand to Valier in marriage.
I did.
And you set the date.
Quite so.
But you've postponed it.
No doubt.
The match no longer pleases you?
Who knows?
You mean to go back on your word?
I won't say that.
Has something occurred that entitled you to break your pledge?
Perhaps.
Brother, do not hem and haw and hedge. The young boy asked me to sound you in this affair.
It's been a pleasure.
But what shall I tell Valier?
Tell him whatever you would like.
What is your decision? What are your plans?
I plan, sir, to be guided by heaven's will.
Brother, come, do not talk rot. You give Valier your word. Will you keep it or not?
Good day.
It seems to be Valier's undoing. I should have warned him of the trouble brewing.
Marianne,
Yes, Father?
a word with you. Come here. Oh!
What are you looking for?
Eavesdroppers, dear. I'm making sure we shan't be overheard. Someone there could hear every word. Oh, good. We're safe now. Marianne, my child, my daughter, who's tractable and mild, whom I think most highly of.
I'm deeply grateful, Father, for your love.
That's wisely said, dear daughter. And you can repay me if in all things you cheerfully obey me.
To please you, sir, is what delights me best.
Good, good. Now, what do you think of Tartuffe, our guest?
I, sir?
Yes. Weigh your answers. Think it through.
Oh, dear. I will say whatever you wish me to.
That's wisely said, dear daughter. Think of him then that he's the worthiest of men. And that you're fond of him. And would rejoice in being his wife if that should be my choice. Well,
What?
What's that? Well,
Forgive me, pray.
did you not hear me?
Of whom, sir, must I say that I am fond of and would rejoice in being his wife if that should be your choice?
Why of Tartuffe?
But, Father, that's false, you know. Why would you have me say what isn't so?
Because I am resolved it shall be true, and he should be enough for you.
You can't mean, Father.
Yes, Tartuffe shall be allied by marriage to this family. He's to be your husband. Is that clear? It's a father's privilege. What are you doing here? Is curiosity so fierce a passion that you must eavesdrop in this fashion?
There's lately been a rumor going about based on some hunch or chance remark, no doubt, that you mean Marianne to what Tartuffe. I've laughed it off, of course, it's just a spoof.
You find it so incredible?
Yes, I do. I won't accept that story even from you.
Well, you'll believe it when the thing is done.
Yes, of course. Go on and have your fun.
I mean it. Daughter, I mean it. You're to be his wife.
No, don't believe your father. It's all a hoax.
See here, young woman.
Come, sir, no more jokes. You can't fool us.
How dare you talk to me that way?
All right, then. We believe you, sad to say. But how a man like you, who looks so wise and wears a mustache of such splendid size, can be so foolish as to—
Silence, please. My girl, you take too many liberties. I'm master here, as you must not forget.
Do let's discuss this calmly. Don't be upset. You can't be serious, sir, about this plan. What does that bigot want with Marianne? Praying and fasting ought to keep him busy, but in terms of wealth and rank, what is he? Why should a man of property like you pick out a beggar son-in-law?
That will do. Speak of his poverty with reverence. His is a pure and saintly indigence, which far transcends all worldly pride and pelf. He lost his fortune, as he says himself, because he cared for heaven alone, and so was careless of his interests here below. I mean to get him out of his present straits and help him restore his estates, which, for his part of the world, is no small fame. For though he's a gentleman just the same.
Yes, so he tells us. And sir, it seems to me such pride was very ill with piety. A man whose spirit spurns this dungy earth ought not to brag of lands and noble birth. Such worldly arrogance will hardly square with meek devotion in a life of prayer. With this approach I see has drawn a blank. Let's speak then of his person, not his rank. Doesn't it seem you a trifle grim to give a girl like her to a man like him? When two are so ill-suited, can't you see what the sad consequence is bound to be? A young girl's virtue is imperiled, sir, when such a marriage is imposed on her. For if one's bridegroom isn't to one's taste, it's hardly an inducement to be chaste. And many a man with horns upon his brow has made his wife the thing she is now. It's hard to be a faithful wife, in short, to certain husbands of a certain sort. And he who gives his daughter to a man she hates must answer for her sins at heaven's gates. Think, sir, before you play so risky a role.
This servant girl presumes to save my soul.
You will do well to ponder what I've said.
Daughter, we'll disregard this dunderhead. Just trust your father's judgment. I'm aware I once promised you to that young Valier, but I hear he gambles, which greatly shocks me. But I have doubts about his orthodoxy. His visits to church, I note, are very few.
Would you have him go at the same hours as you and kneel nearby to be sure of being seen?
I can dispense such remarks, Doreen. Tartuffe, however, is of heaven's blessing, and that's the only treasure worth possessing. This match will bring you joys beyond all measure. Your cup will overflow with every pleasure. You two will interchange in love like two sweet cherubs or two turtle doves. No harsh word shall be heard, no frown be seen, and he shall treat you as happy as a queen.
And she'll make him a cuckold, just wait and see.
What language!
Oh, he's a man of destiny, he's made for horns, and with the stars demand your daughter's virtue surely can't withstand.
Don't interrupt him further. Why can't you learn what certain things are none of your concern?
It's for your own sake that I interfere.
Most kind of you. Now hold your tongue, do you hear?
If I didn't love you...
Spare me your affection.
I'll love you, sir, in spite of your objection.
Blast!
I can't bear, sir, for your honor's sake, to let you make this ludicrous mistake.
You mean to go on talking?
If I didn't protest this marriage, my conscience couldn't rest.
If you don't hold your tongue, you little shrew!
What? Lost your temper, a pious man like you?
Yes, yes, yes! You talk and talk! I'm maddened by it! Once and for all, I'll tell you to be quiet!
Well, I'll be quiet. But I'll be thinking hard.
Think all you like, but you better guard that saucy tongue of yours or I'll... Daughter, I've weighed this matter fully.
It drives me wild that I can't speak.
Tartuffe is no young dandy, but still his person
is as sweet as candy.
Is such that even if you shouldn't care for his other merits,
they'll make a lovely pair. If I were she, no man would marry me against my inclination and go scot-free. He'd learn before the wedding day was over how readily a wife can find a lover.
Seems you treat my orders as a joke.
Why? What's the matter? 'Twas not to you I spoke.
What were you doing then?
Talking to myself, that's all.
Ha! One more bit of impudence and go, and I should give her a good slap in the face! Daughter, you shall accept with good grace the husband I've selected. Your wedding day! Why aren't you talking to yourself?
I've nothing to say.
Come on, speak. I'm waiting.
No, thank you, sir. I'll pass.
Come, speak. Just one word.
Oh, I'd not be such an ass.
In short, dear daughter, I mean to be obeyed, and you shall bow down to the sound choice I've made.
I not want such a monster even in jest.
Doreen! Daughter, that maid of yours is a thorough pest. She makes me sick speak further. My nerves are too unsettled. She's so upset me by her insolent tongue. I'll calm myself by going for a walk.
Well, have you lost your tongue, girl? Must I play your part and say the lines you ought to say? Faced with a fate so hideous and absurd, can you not utter one dissenting word?
What good would it do? The Father's power is great.
Resist him now, or it will be too late.
But
tell him one cannot love at a father's whim, that you shall marry for yourself, not for him. That since it's you who are to be the bride, it's you, not him, who must be satisfied, and that if his Tartuffe is so sublime, he's free to marry him at any time.
I've vowed so long to Father's strict control. I couldn't oppose him now to save my soul.
Come, Marianne, do listen to reason, won't you? Valliere has asked your hand. Do you love him, or don't you?
How unjust of you! What can you mean by asking such a question, dear Doreen? You know the depth of my affection for him. I've told you 100 times how I adore him.
I don't believe in everything I hear. Who knows if your professions were sincere?
They were, Doreen, and you do me wrong to doubt it. Heaven knows I've been all too frank about it.
You love him then?
More than I can express.
And he, I takes it, cares for you no less.
I think so.
And you both, with equal fire, burn to be married.
That is our one desire.
What of Tartuffe then? What of your father's plans?
I'll kill myself if I'm forced to wed that man.
I hadn't thought of that recourse. How splendid! Just die and all your troubles will be ended. A fine solution. It maddens me to hear you talk in that self-pitying key.
Doreen, how harsh you are. It's most unfair. You have no sympathy for my despair.
I've none at all for people who talk drivel, and when faced with difficulties, whine and snivel.
No doubt I'm timid, but it would be wrong.
True love requires a heart that's firm and strong.
I'm strong in my affection for Valliere, but coping with my father and his affair.
But if your father's brain has grown so cracked over his dear Tartuffe, then he can retract his blessing. Though your wedding day be named, it's surely not Valliere who's to be blamed.
If I defied my father, as you suggest, would it not seem unmaidenly at best? Shall I defend my love at the expense of brazeness and disobedience? Shall I parade my heart's desires and flaunt?
No, I ask nothing of you. Clearly you want to be Madame Tartuffe, and I feel bound not to oppose a wish so very sound. Monsieur Tartuffe, now that's a man of weight. Yes, Monsieur Tartuffe, I'm bound to state as quite a man that's not to be denied. 'Twill be no little thing to be his bride. The world already rings with his renown. He's a great noble in his native town. His ears are red, and he's got a pink complexion, and all in all, he'll suit you to perfection.
Oh, dear God!
Oh, how triumphant you will feel at having caught a husband so ideal.
Oh, do stop teasing and use your cleverness to get me out of this appalling mess.
No, a dutiful daughter must obey her father, even if he weds her to an ape. You've got a bright future. Why struggle to escape? Tartuffe will take you back where his family lives. A small town, a swarm of relatives, cousins and uncles whom you'll be charmed to meet. You'll be received at once by the elite, called upon by the bailiff's wife, no less, or even perhaps upon the mayoress, who will sit you down at the best kitchen chair, and then once a year you'll dance at the village square to the drone of bagpipes. 2, in fact, and you'll see an animal show or a puppet act. Your husband...
Oh, you turned my blood to ice! Do stop teasing and give me your advice!
Your servant, madam.
Oh, Doreen, I beg you!
No, you deserve it. This marriage must go through.
Doreen!
No.
Not Tartuffe. You know I think him.
Tartuffe is your cup of tea, and you shall drink him.
I've always told you everything and relied...
No. You deserve to be Tartuffeified.
mock me and refuse to care, I'll henceforth seek my solace in despair. Despair shall be my counselor and friend, and help me bring my sorrows to an end.
There now. Come back. My anger has subsided. You deserve some pity, I've decided.
If my father makes me undergo this dreadful martyrdom, I'll die, I know.
Don't fret. It won't be difficult to discover some plan of action. But here's Valere, your lover.
Madam, I've just received some wondrous news regarding which I'd like to hear your views.
What news?
You're marrying Tartuffe.
I find that father does have a match in mind.
Your father, madam?
Has just this minute said it's Tartuffe he wishes me to wed.
Can he be serious?
Indeed he can. He has his heart set clearly upon the plan.
And what position do you propose to take, madam?
Why? I don't know.
For heaven's sake, you don't know?
No.
Well.
Advise me, do.
Marry the man. That's my advice to you.
That's your advice?
Yes.
Truly.
Absolutely. You could have chosen more wisely.
Thanks for this counsel. I'll follow it, of course.
Do. I'm sure it'll cost you no remorse.
To give it, did it cause your heart to break?
I gave it, madam. Only for your sake.
It is for your sake that I take it, sir.
Let's see which fool would prove the stubborner.
So, I'm nothing to you, and was flat deception when you...
Please, enough of that. You told me plainly that I should agree to what the man my father's chosen for me. And since you deigned to counsel me so wisely, I promise, sir, to do as you advise me.
No, it's not me you were swayed. No, your decision was already made. But to save appearances, you protested that you're betraying me at my behest.
Just as you say.
Quite so. And now I see that you were never truly in love with me.
Alas, you're free to think so if you choose.
I think so, and here's a bit of news. You spurned my hand, but I know where to turn for kinder treatment, as you shall quickly learn.
I see your noble qualities inspire affection.
Forget my qualities, please. They don't inspire you over much, I find. But there's another lady I have in mind, whose sweet and generous nature will not scorn to compensate me for this loss.
I'm no great loss. I'm sure you transfer your heart quite painlessly from me to her.
I'll do my best to take it in stride, the pain I feel at being cast aside. Time and forgetfulness shall attend to, or let me forget, I shall pretend to. No self-respecting person is expected to go on loving once he's been rejected.
No, that's a fine, high-minded sentiment.
One to which any sane man would have said, would you prefer it if I pined away in hopeless passion till my dying day? Am I to yield you to a rival's arms and not console myself with other charms?
Go then. Console yourself. Don't hesitate. I wish you to. Indeed, I cannot wait.
You wish me to?
Yes.
That's the final straw. Farewell, madam. Your wish shall be my law.
Splendid.
This breach, however, is of your making. It is you who's led me to this choice I'm taking.
Of course.
Remember, too, that I'm merely following your example.
I see that clearly.
Enough. I'll go into your bidding, then. You'll never see my face again.
Good.
Yes? What? What was that? What did you say?
Nothing, you're dreaming.
I'll be on my way. Farewell, madam.
Farewell.
If you ask me, both of you are as mad can be. To stop this nonsense now, I've only let you squabble so long to see how far it will get you. Thereabouts there, Valier?
Sister Reen?
Come here.
No, my heart's too full of spleen. Don't hold me back. Her wish must be obeyed. Stop. It's too late now. My decision's made.
Oh,
He's decided me, it's plain. I'll go and so deliver him from pain.
and now you run away. Come back.
No, nothing is safe will keep me here. Let go.
She cannot bear my presence, I perceive. To spare her further torment, shall leave.
Again, you'll not escape. Sir, don't try it. Come here, you two. Stop fussing and be quiet.
You want from me?
What's the point of this?
We're going to have a little armistice. Now, weren't you silly to get so overheated?
Did you see how badly I was treated?
Aren't you simpleton to have lost your head?
Did you hear the hateful things he said?
You're both great
fools! Her sole desire, Valier, is to be yours in marriage. On that, I'll swear. He loves you only. He wants no wife but you, Marianne. On that, I'll stake my life.
He advised me too. I cannot see such a question. Why is he advising me?
Oh, you're impossible. Give me a hand, you two. Yours first. Why? And now a hand from you.
What are you doing?
There. A perfect fit. You'll suit each other better than you'll admit.
Ah, come. Don't be so haughty. Give a man a look of kindness, won't you, Marianne?
Tell you, lovers are completely mad.
Now, you must confess that you were very bad to hurt your feelings as you did just now. I have a just complaint. You must allow that you were most unpleasant.
Let's table that discussion for the present. Your father has a plan that must be stopped.
Advise us then, what means must we adopt?
We'll use all manner of means and all at once. Your father's addled, he's acting like a dunce. Therefore, better hear in the old fossil. Pretend to yield to him. Be sweet and docile. And then postpone, as often as necessary, on the day in which you agreed to marry. You'll thus gain time, and time will turn the trick. Sometimes, for instance, you'll be taken sick. And that'll seem good reason for delay. Or some bad omen will make you change the day. You'll dream of muddy water, or pass a dead man's hearse, or break a looking glass. If all else fails, no man can marry you unless you take his ring and say, I do. But now, let's separate. If they should find us talking here, our plot might be divined. Go to your friends and tell them what's occurred, and have them urge her father to keep his word. Meanwhile, we'll stir brother into action and get Almir as well to join our faction. Goodbye.
Though each of us will do his best, it's your true heart on which my hope shall rest.
Regardless of what father may decide, no one but Valier shall claim me as his bride.
Though those words content me, come what will.
Lovers, lovers, their tongues are never still. Be off now.
One last word?
No time to chat. Leave by that door, and you leave by that.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight. I'd like to ask the Theater Academy seniors who already stepped forward to step forward again. And I would like to acknowledge the graduating Theater Academy seniors for all of the amazing work that they've done, both in the classroom and on the stage at Towns River High School North. I'd like to thank you all for everything you have done for myself and for the Theater Academy. You will be greatly missed. So now, take your last and final bow on the Toms River North High School stage. And everyone, let's give a big round of applause for our graduating Theater Academy.